Here's a game, MAM 0061. Let's see. It's time for d4, it looks like. He doesn't want to play at d4 opening, so he goes with e6. So he's going to play a bad French defense. Or what? What is this? Yes, the bad French defense. There's some weird gambit here. But I'm not going to go for any crazy gambits. I'm just going to take. And defend my d-pawn. And then if he wants to take and give me an isolated queen's pawn here, I will accept that. That's all right. And I'm not going to do anything tricky to avoid that. I'm just going to castle here. Oh, no, that's interesting. So he's giving me the e5 square for my knight. Looks like that'll be a good square. So let's take it. Yeah, let's kick the bishop first. See if I can get his intentions clearly defined here. Okay. He doesn't want that knight, and I didn't want it pinned, so I kicked the bishop, so now that knight is free to move. And this knight is free to come here. He should be looking to put a knight on the e4 square, just like I'm looking to put a knight on the e5 square. So it looks like he's going to trade it off. So let's see how this works out. I put the knight there, he takes, I take, and he drops the bishop back. Then I'll take here, he takes with the knight, I'll take. So I should take here first. Now when I go here, he takes, I take, and he drops the bishop back. This is not quite loose. It's got the knight defending it and the queen. But it looks like there should be something on this diagonal, right? Knight takes, bishop here. How does he defend it with the bishop there? Something like that ought to work, though. Okay, start with the knight up. The weakness of the advanced f-pawn is this diagonal here, and there should be a way to exploit that. And it's funny, he pushed these pawns forward without, there's no clear way for a knight to get to that square. Oh, this knight comes to f6. The knight on d7 comes to f6 and then to e4. So he doesn't take. Just leaves my knight there, and he says, yes, you can have that knight, but I'm going to have this knight here. Okay. I'm going to deny him that square. Create a weakness of my own, but I can move my king off this diagonal if it becomes a problem. And he's not actually threatening my d-pawn at the moment. Yeah, so he goes there. Yeah, okay, so I should have allowed for that, because now this bishop doesn't move with a check, so we can actually take that pawn. That's annoying. If I defend here with the bishop, then he can take this pawn. So it looks like I need to defend with the knight. Maybe I'll play actively with the knight and go here. Defends the pawn. And if he kicks the knight, I'll take the bishop. If he takes here with check, I'll just move my king away because I'm a piece up. And I'll let him have that pawn for a piece. So he goes there first. Okay, but now when I take back, he's got to move the knight. I have to take with the rook. That's the problem. That's the problem. And now his now I can kick my knight. Oh, I can go there. Okay. So is there something I can do with my bishop or my knight? Let's see, bishop here is not going to be helpful because he'll take the rook, and then that pawn is still kind of pinned there. If I just unpin, he takes the rook. I take. See, so I mean the most logical thing is to move the rook back, but I'm just looking for other ideas here. Because after I move the rook back, then this pawn goes. I don't really have any compensation for it. Well, I have the bishop pair. So what if I take here, knight takes, bishop here. He still takes here. I take, queen takes check. No, he doesn't take there. So rook takes, knight takes, bishop here. My queen and my knight are both defending there. And I've got a pin here. So he needs to defend that knight. Yeah, but I've given up a whole rook there. I don't know. I think I just have to drop back. And play on in this position. Well, if knight takes, I can actually block with the bishop now. With the rook here, yeah, actually even with the rook there, bishop here, the bishop is defended on e3. By the rook, I was missing that. I guess, yeah, I was still worried about b2 as well, I guess. He might be able to win a pawn there somehow. Well, it looks like he's trying to figure it out. Muddling through the same calculations that I just did. So maybe rather than playing bishop b3 immediately, unless I'm forced to by my move like knight takes, maybe my first move should be b4 there to take the pressure off of here. Or if he kicks my knight, I have to move it back. That's the way for him to win the pawn. He kicks my knight, I move it back, and then he takes the pawn with the queen. And then if I attack the queen with the bishop, as long as he has a square to run to, we'll see. We'll see if he has a square to run to. If he takes it with the knight, I still have a nasty pin there, don't I? He did. He went for that. Okay, so the knight can move with check. Here or here. But I can take the knight and my bishop is defended. And if he takes the pawn, I'll take his knight, defending my knight. Tricky, tricky. And there's knight a4, hitting the queen, chasing it, trying to chase it off this diagonal. Knight a4, then move the bishop out of the way. And I've got real chances of winning that knight, I think. Yeah, the queen actually has trouble moving to a square. That defends the knight and is not in a pin. Like this square here, B4, is covered by the pawn. So yeah, he has trouble getting out of this pin. Mom 061. So maybe just a simple retreat of the bishop is enough to win that piece. Bishop all the way back to F1. Or B1, I suppose, but I don't want to shut in that rook. So if he had taken with the queen instead of the knight, did the queen have any squares to go to? Okay, he's giving up material in order to try and liberate. Don't think it's going to work. Knight here I take with the pawn. Knight here I can take with the queen. Yeah, so I am exposing myself here. I am getting exposed. His queen is under attack, so he's got to play something like that, yeah. I can't play that, okay. So let's go here. I could play it, but I would be losing a piece when he takes because bishop would be pinned. And I can't take it with the queen because his rook is on it. After pawn takes f3, I mean. I just need to get this bishop to g3 to block his queen out. Here we go. But I can do something a little more active here first, right? I can throw in this check. Then I can block here. Get a little control over the G file there. So the rooks protect each other, and the bishop. The knight is protected by a pawn. The pawn is loose. So the queen could come into C2 there. That might be annoying. Let's see, I could drop this bishop back to block. Yeah, queen c2. I think that's a good try. What else is he going to play? So this is covered, this is covered, this is covered, this is covered. Bring that knight in somehow. Not there. Yeah, that queen is covering a lot of good squares. Let's go here with the queen. The queen takes the pawn, then I can move my knight away. And I will. The rooks are still protecting each other. And the bishops. And yes, I have enough force here now with the knight, the bishop, the queen, all of this. He just does not have quite enough force here. After having sacrificed 2 knights. So where is the killer blow here? Bishop here threatens mate. But the queen can just take it. So let's go here. Then threaten mate. Oh, I could have taken the queen. That's very silly. Let's mate him now. Okay. So anyway, interesting game. I guess I will upload that one, and I will see you guys later. Bye.